Okay, so Chapter 9 in CFIN6, this is going to be the final lecture. Previously we were talking about the problems with internal rate of return, in particular the fact that you could actually get multiple IRRs, as you saw in this example. The solution for that is what we call modified internal rate of return. So what we do, and we typically use a firm's cost of capital as a reinvestment rate, and we present value all the cash flows and then the outflows, and then we future value all of the inflows. So basically what we've done is we put, if we go back, let's go here. So what we would do, we don't really, I'm going the wrong way here, sorry. So what we would do is we're gonna, in this case, we would present value this $10 million back to here, and then we would future value this $10 million up to there. So that would eliminate our multiple IRRs because we are going to have an outflow here and an inflow here. So it solves the problem. So that's called modified internal rate of return. The calculator, the BA2 Plus Professional, has a mod function. It's a MOD, and MOD is the same as modified internal rate of return. And you basically you calculate the IRR in the calculator, and then you go down, and it'll give you RI, and you enter the firm's cost of capital or required rate of return here, and so this is ROR, and then you go down to mod. So this is just down arrow once and one more time, and then it's going to calculate the modified internal rate of return by itself. I promise you that you'll want to use that function as opposed to doing the calculations by hand. The decision rule, just like the IRR, is if the modified internal rate of return is greater than the required rate of return, then you accept the project. So one of the original methods that we used to use a long time ago, before there were financial calculators and computers and readily available, basically is called traditional payback period. It's simply it's how long does it take, answers the question, how long does it take me to recoup my money? So, and typically firms would adjust this and determine, have a target number in mind and go about it that way. So traditional payback period doesn't utilize the time value of money. So we're going to see in a second, there's a methodology that allows us to incorporate payback period with the time value of money. So traditional payback period, the decision rule, a project is acceptable if the payback period is less than N star, and that's the number of years determined by the firm. So basically, if we're looking at project S, we had a $3,000 outflow, $1,500 inflow, so that we got half our money back from then we received $1,200. So there's $300 left to recoup in year 3. So that's 2 years plus 300 divided by 800, or 2.4 years. Discounted payback utilizes the same methodology, except we incorporate the time value of money. So discounted payback period is the length of time it takes for a project's discounted cash flows to repay the cost of the investment. So decision rule is discounted payback period less than the project's useful life. So we're going to use our discount rate as the firm's cost of capital. So if our rate of return is equal to the IRR, then the discounted payback period will be equal to the useful life. If it's greater than, the discounted payback period is going to be less than. If it's more than, then the rate of return is going to be less than the cost of capital or the required rate of return. So just like before with the Project S, we have these cash flows, the $3,000 initial outflow and the receipts over the next 4 years. What we do is we present value the cash flows from each year. And after the first year, we're discounting that $1,500 by 1 year. We recouped $1,363.64. The next year, we recouped $991.74. The note, should have mentioned this before, but payback period and discounted payback period are calculator functions. They are under the NPV key. If you solve for the NPV and then go down to payback or discounted payback period, your calculator will do that calculation for you. So we add all those up, and turns out that we have we recoup most of our money in the first 3 years. We have $43.57 to recoup in the last year. So that's $43.57 divided by the present value of the fourth year's cash flow. So that's 3 plus 43.57 divided by 204.90 is 3.2 years. Again, this is a whole lot easier to do with calculator since it does the calculations for you. Capital budgeting methods used in practice. Companies certainly use much more sophisticated techniques today than they did 20 or 30 years ago. That's because we have technology, financial calculators, Excel, and so forth. We can fully analyze a project. Previously, before we had access to technology, it took this analysis took days. Now we can sit there and we can run multiple scenarios in a matter of minutes. So companies use multiple capital budgeting techniques when they're making investment decisions. They may use discounted payback period, net present value, and modified internal rate of return, all and to see if they get if they're evaluating multiple projects, if they to determine they might get multiple answers as far as which projects they would take, so forth. So that's the conclusion of Chapter 9.